All right, today we are cracking open the playbook of a true industry giant. We're going to find out how a company can achieve absolutely massive scale, but still somehow hold on to who they really are. Okay, let's just let this sink in for a second. $40 billion with a B. That is the sales volume Howard Hanna Real Estate Services did in 2022 alone. We're not just talking about a big company here. This is a true behemoth.
So that's the big question, right? How in the world does a company with over 15,000 agents and 500 offices not just survive, but thrive and still feel, well, authentic? How do you stay quick on your feet when you're that big? That is exactly what we're going to unpack.
To really get how they do it, we can't just jump into business strategy. We've got to start at the foundation. Their DNA. It's like you can't talk about sailing through a storm until you understand the ship you're on. And for them, everything, and I mean everything, starts with culture.
This quote from the company's president, Hoby Hanna, it really says it all. And this isn't just some catchy slogan they slap on a wall. Nope, this is their entire philosophy. They don't think of their agents as just contractors. They see them as partners, each one running their own family business. And the company's job is simply to help them win.
And that philosophy leads to a totally different mindset. A lot of organizations operate with a scarcity mindset. When one agent really succeeds, there's a weird tension. It creates walls, but they flip that completely on its head with a partnership mindset. For them, when an agent succeeds, the whole company succeeds. It's that simple. You stop building walls and you start building bridges. This idea of being clear isn't just for internal stuff. It's also about how you face the competition. So many companies fall into this trap, right? They start chasing what everyone else is doing and they end up with this confusing, watered-down identity. But the companies that last, they know exactly who they are. And that authenticity becomes the North Star for the entire team.
So the huge takeaway here is this. Culture is not just a fluffy poster on the wall. It is a strategic asset. You have to define it with crystal clarity, make every single decision based on it, and then you have to protect it fiercely as you get bigger.
Okay, so they've got this incredible cultural foundation, but how does it hold up when things get tough? Because let's be real, a great culture is easy when everything's going well. The real test is when you have to navigate those big industry storms. This is where we see leadership in action.
First, just a little bit of context so we're all on the same page. We're going to be talking about something called the Clear Cooperation Policy, or CCP. Basically, it's just an industry rule that says brokers have to put a new listing into the main shared database, the MLS, within 1 day of marketing it. Now, here's where it gets super interesting. Howard Hanna, they actually voted against this policy. But, and this is the key part, look at how they handled it. They didn't just quietly disagree. First, they were public with their concerns. Second, and this is so critical, they explained why. They said, hey, we believe in local control and giving sellers flexibility. And third, they didn't burn any bridges. They kept the conversation going. It's a total masterclass in how to disagree without being disagreeable. And the lesson here is one we can all use. When you have to make a tough call, one that might not be popular, don't just announce the what. You have to communicate the why. When your team understands the reasoning, it builds incredible trust, even when things are complicated. And they took this exact same proactive approach with another massive industry shift, the new emphasis on signed buyer agency agreements. Instead of reacting with fear, they framed it as a chance to be even more professional. They didn't just cross their fingers and hope for the best. No way. They trained their people relentlessly, pumped them full of confidence, and set a really firm expectation. You are a professional, and professionals get their agreements in writing. So the lesson is this. During times of big change, it's all about empowerment. It's not enough to just point people in the right direction. You have to give them the actual skills, the how-to, and just as important, the psychological confidence they need to go out and crush it in that new reality. So we've looked at the high-level strategy and the cultural bedrock. But what does this leadership look like up close and personal? Let's zoom in from the corporate view to the individual level. Get ready for this, because this story is wow. At the end of a podcast interview, Hoby Hanna, the president of this $40 billion company, did something you just never see. He gave out his personal cell phone number. And he told any agent listening, even from competing companies, to just call him directly if they had questions. Who does that?
That one action tells you everything you need to know, doesn't it? It's such a vital lesson. Getting bigger should never be an excuse for getting more distant. When you make yourself that accessible, it sends a powerful message that you're in the trenches with your people, and that is how you build trust that is absolutely unshakable. So when you take all these lessons, the culture, the transparency, the accessibility, they all point to one final, much deeper idea. It's a concept that goes way beyond just quarterly earnings and market share. It goes to the ultimate purpose of a leader, to their legacy. And that idea is stewardship. It completely reframes what it means to be a leader. See, a true leader understands they don't own their team or their company. Instead, they realize they've been entrusted with them. And so their job becomes one of service, to guide, to support, and to protect the people and the mission in their care. And that leaves all of us with a final, pretty powerful question to think about, no matter what industry we're in. When you look at your own day-to-day work, what's it really about? Is your main focus just closing the transaction, just hitting the target, or is it about the human being on the other side of that transaction? Because the ultimate legacy of a true leader, a steward, is never found in the deals they close. It's found in the lives they help move forward.